lot of clutter on the desk.
You're gonna do.
Good morning. Good.
Yeah.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Well, what did you want to say something?
No, you were.
Okay, well, you cut off my good
started
morning.
hard.
Oh wait, can someone pull up the Pledge of Allegiance?
It actually hasn't been sent this morning.
I don't have it memorized yet. Oh, we got a flag.
This is wow. You should put that on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Drape it around Eric. Oh yeah. Oh, do I need to take sunglasses off as well?
Absolutely. If you don't want Jim on your ass.
Good morning, Eugene. Oh, yeah, I knew that. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, there it is.
New Balance celebrates runners of all levels and styles. They believe there's no single right way to run, just your way. If you run, no matter the distance, the pace, the frequency, you're a runner. New Balance. Run your way.
Yeah,
nice job. Thank you.
That's the part we can get down pat that we
Yeah.
can both say at the same time.
Yeah, thanks for joining me at the end.
That is manageable, that.
George, do not put that on the ground.
Oh, yeah. Don't
Oh,
burn it,
dude.
Eric. What a day yesterday, man.
Wow, yeah. That was wild.
And what a morning we just
an
had.
absolute-
We've already had
the
such
run.
a crazy morning.
Yeah, and we
had
went the
run.
right way. No, there was no confusion. There was no short run, couple long runs.
Actually, yeah, I was
finding
saying
out.
no confusion. There's
Yeah,
a guy
man.
just coming in yelling
Yeah.
that we left them
Where do
behind.
you reckon they got lost? Where did it go wrong? If you would have run, let's circle back on the run. Where
let's
we
circle
went.
back.
Where would they go?
So you went straight. It was mostly straight and one left turn.
So where does that leave
okay,
the opportunity?
I guess on the when you take the right to go back when you get off that dog park loop. It is because there's a lot of vegetation out there that's pretty overgrown.
It's overstimulating in a way. Yeah.
So I guess that would be a plate. Maybe he got lost there.
Well, I'm just trying to think. Even when you come back over the bridge.
Yeah.
Back
No,
into that.
I don't think they got lost. I'm assuming they got lost on the trail because once you're off the trail onto the
But I feel
pavement,
like that trail just goes
it goes
like one way.
Yeah. No, it's just like a lollipop loop. It is tough to get lost. If he was working really hard and disoriented,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, the people were working hard at the end. Had a kick down sprint. It was Mac Fleet of old came bounding out of the traffic lights.
Yeah, Mac just decided at the very end, hey, look,
Dusting cars.
first man and woman to get back wins a free hat, which
Yeah.
caused a lot of pandemonium. People started sprinting,
Body scrambling.
and not really a great place to sprint. There was a lot of there's a lot of construction area. It's there's
A lot of tarps,
there's security areas. So yeah, obviously one person got a compound fracture, broke their leg, but all in all, what can you do?
Yeah, outside of that, good strike rate.
Yeah, really good.
A lot of smiles all around. Yeah, good way to start the morning. Good way to rejuvenate after a long, busy, chaotic, hectic,
My
exciting.
God.
Put whatever word you want in there.
I
Night
feel like
of
Wolf
track and
Blitzer
field.
out here. It's nonstop. My goodness.
This is the
It's-
least relaxing rest day.
It's the first rest day. Yeah, I've already logged the most mileage of the trip. I haven't eaten yet. I am running on not a lot, but I feel really good. I can tell today is going to be a hell of a day. I think we're gonna float the river later.
Which is
rumor
exciting.
has it we're
Yeah.
gonna float the river.
Strong rumors.
I hope we make it back from that. I
I'm
hope
not
we
convinced.
don't drown.
I said to Chris we won't be back for a while.
It's kind of a
Like a
rough.
while.
It's kind of a rough river, and it's kind of rocky, shallow in
sounds
areas.
relaxing in theory. Oh, we're going to float the river. That's beautiful. But there's a couple of gnarly little rapids in there.
Yeah.
Where if you're not paying attention and you can scrape your ass on the rocks, that happened to me a lot. I came back bruised like anything when I did it a couple of years ago.
If you start dipping that ass low,
Too low.
you're dragging.
You're out. You're out.
If Fred Curly's out there
scratching.
dragging that wagon around, it's gonna be it would be bad. So there are points where we're gonna need to stay sharp.
Yeah.
And
Asses
not
up,
lose
bridge.
focus out there. It's also a long
core
one.
strength. Yeah, it's a
like a minimum. Mac, what is it? A minimum 3-hour float?
Kings
This
of
might be. I don't know.
Kings
if,
of the float, yeah.
I'm starting
It's
to-
always a little bit longer than what you think.
Yeah.
That's for sure. 2 hours in, you're like, okay, wait, where's the turn? You still got a bit to go.
It
Yeah.
also gets kind of freezing out there. Like you're like by hour 2, you're like, okay, I'm
cold.
soaking wet.
Yeah.
I'm cold.
I'm cold.
I scraped my ass like a million times, almost drowned in a section, and I lost a bunch of my belongings. Sunburnt as shit.
So I'm excited. Yeah.
So, yeah,
When
good.
you
Yeah,
sell it
yeah.
like that. I'm very
I think we'll have
pumped.
fun though.
I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
I don't see it being a bad time. A lot of good times I had last night in these finals. A lot of people found themselves on Olympic teams.
Yeah.
What stood out? What was your favorite? Give me your favorite of the night.
Yeah, every single race was great. The 15 just stands out. I mean, I'm a bit biased, but the 15 stands out to me. It was such a good race. Cole, it was fast, entertaining. Cole Hawker crushed it. All the guys that made the team ran amazingly. So that the 15 was good. Of course, the race that's getting all the talk right now is Athing Mu falling in the women's 800. That was really tough to see, and that's what makes this sport and this trials in particular so brutal.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was saying yesterday, I didn't get to watch it. So in the mix zone, I was interviewing, I think it was Quincy Hall, and I looked to my left on the screen, and it was a thing upset or crying, and I was like, oh, she's either stoked that she's made it or something's happened. And then obviously 219 flashed up, and I was like, oh no, something's happened. I guess a lot of the dialogue or part of it last night was about the qualification system and whether or not there could ever be a change to allow somebody like Athing into the team where it's not like just that top 3 are cemented and there's some form of discretion. What do you make of that conversation? Like, if you were to come to a US trials, you think back to you were 4th in 2016. Is that something that you would like the trials to change to? Or do you like this system where it's like, no, you're 1, 2, 3, so be it,
Yeah.
whatever happens.
That's what makes the trial so exciting.
Yeah.
Right. Like if it wasn't that way, then you wouldn't have the drama, and also you wouldn't have all the stars competing in the main events, like you see in the British trials. Josh Kerr is doing the 8 because he doesn't need to do the 15. So that's what makes the U.S. trials in particular so special. All the athletes need to come and they need to get it right on the day. That's what I mean. This was her first, and we don't. Again, I'm not entirely sure how healthy she's been all year. But this was she hasn't raced. Athing hasn't raced yet. This was her first meet, and you're kind of seeing a little bit of maybe some of that early, right? Joey Bags, baby.
The Barracuda. Is that the Barracuda? Hey, those kids are on our run.
Kate.
Let's double them back, some of those kids. That kid was sprinting for the
guys.
hat not long ago. Anyway.
Joey Barracuda.
The Barracuda.
Yeah.
The big fish.
What were we talking about?
Talking about the qualifications.
Oh, the qualifications. Yeah. What about the qualifications? Yeah. It's just. Oh yeah. Well, because we've seen a thing has the type of stride that is not. Like, you've got to give yourself space.
Not conducive
she
to
clipped,
pack
and
running.
Mac was actually brought this up earlier.
Identical.
Nia Akins went down, was taken out by Athing Mu. So that's
In 2021, the trials, when they were coming out of the break, Athing kind of a little bit more aggressive than Nia was running straight, and Athing kind of cut across, tripped Nia Akins up. Nia Akins goes down. She's out of the race in the 2021 trials. Also, similarly, I think it was last year in one of the prelims of the 1500. Athing was also kind of mixed up in a little scuffle, and then last year in Budapest, semifinal, Athing was also turned around in that famous photo where she's all stretched out. So I don't know if it's like she doesn't race enough, or she's just inexperienced in those groups, or the runners around her are not used to a stride like that. But certainly, like, just bad luck, and just she's mixing it up a lot and is involved in a lot of those kind of scuffles.
Yeah.
and I mean, she's been involved in a lot of those. Like, she's been tangled up before. This isn't a new thing for her. So you would, I mean, It's not. It's just not that surprise. It's shocking that
issue,
she went down and that
yeah.
she didn't make the team.
I don't think we're not trying to be overly critical here. We're just being observational.
Yeah.
It's just like she's involved in a lot of these, scuffles and trip ups on the track, and part of it's because she's so good. Part of it's because she's got a long stride. Part of it seems to be like she doesn't race all too often.
Yeah.
And so like when your second race is against women that are incredibly good, like you're all in the same space. You're all fighting for the same part of the track.
Yeah.
And it does get physical. We saw it on the men's 15 last night. People are fighting for the same space. They want that perfect spot. You're gonna bump into each other. So I think part of the difficulty there is just your awareness, your body awareness of what's going on around you, and being able to adapt to just the chaos that racing is.
Yeah, you've got to be ready for contact. Like, it is a contact sport. Like, we saw Cooper talking about yesterday. He felt it was a lot of contact in the final. If you watch it back, it seemed like it was pretty standard sort of jostling in a 15. But to the Athing point, like, I'm, again, not being hypercritical, but it seems to be an issue. If it's reoccurring and it continuously happens in big events and big races, you're right. She's got a huge running gait. It's not conducive to being in a pack. But sometimes when you watch back, the way that she cuts in is so abrasive. It's not really like she glides in and finds a spot. Like, she sees her spot, she goes for a spot, and then whatever the ramifications are for that, like we've seen other people fall, we've seen Athing fall now. So maybe that's something that gets reviewed on the way that she actually finds the rail. No one wants to see her go down, but there has to be some form of conversation about changing that.
The experts over there, Mac and Chris, is there any way that Athing makes it to the Olympics?
No.
All right.
Like, unless we refresh the 1,500 entries and then there's some shocker, but like, honestly, I would find that pretty unfair to all the women who ran a qualifying 1,500 this season. And like, it's tough, right? Because like, she's one of the best talents for this country in both middle distance events. She doesn't have a 400 time. She was banged up this season. The hamstring injury happened in April, and then she'd only been running for like quote unquote like a few weeks before this. It's just unfortunate circumstances of an Olympic year. Like, it happens to so many of these top stars, and so we're gonna lose one of our biggest stars. I wouldn't even say in her prime. She's still so young.
Yeah.
But that's a second blemish on her championship resume. The bronze last year in Budapest was also a little bit of a surprise, and now to like not qualify for the Olympic Games, we won't see her at a global championship until September 2025
in Japan.
It's a long time.
Yeah, I think it's nobody obviously wants to see her off the team. Like, it's a real shame, even globally. Like, every athlete wants to have the best possible race, the best possible athletes there. So it is a real shame that she's not there. But
Keely Hodgkinson watched that like,
Keely's
nice.
sitting back going like, okay, things get a bit interesting now.
Yeah, I mean, with Keely in particular, I think it was her coach this morning. Like, they did like put out a tweet that was like, "We're gutted, like watching this because."
We're gutted with a big smile on
she's
our
gonna,
face.
but at the same time, we can joke about it. But but really, like, when she's gonna get to the Olympics, if she does win gold,
the conversation is
it's so
the
unfortunate. What do you think would have happened if Athing was here? And there was sort of like I think it was Sky Sports interview that Keely did like a month or so back, where she always welcomes like Athing in competition because they push each other to get their best, and so. I mean, it's unfortunate because like, if this we like playing the game, like if this was on ESPN, like, and they were debating this on like those morning shows, if Keely wins, the conversation there is like, but would she have done it against Athing? And that's not entirely fair. And we're also getting ahead of ourselves here. Like, there might be Mary Morrow might shock the world again, and there might be some other contenders that pop up.
Buddy Hollingsworth. No, and I think to flip the script, like, in that scenario where you think, oh, do we put someone in? Show me a reasonable justification to leave any of Nia Akins, Ali Wilson, or Juliet Whittaker off. Like, you then have to push a case why they shouldn't go. Like, and you have to then explain to somebody why you're not going to be on the team even though you were top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitch, tell us about the Australian selection process, and because I was about to fight some guy last night that was saying that the U.S. needs to change our selection
Seriously,
process
I
so
had to
there's a
pull Matt
subjective.
back. He was like,
Yeah, I was about to go
screaming in
from
his
the
face.
top rope. I was about to jump
That's
off
a
this thing and give him the
Randy
people's
Orton.
elbow.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Tell
Yeah.
us how political that can get and how frustrating for the athletes that can get when it's on a clear-cut thing and it's left to a selection committee.
Absolutely. No, it is hard. I mean, obviously, like off the gun, there's benefits to either one, right? I understand that there's positives to either way you do the selection, but in terms of Australia, the common dialogue for us is that, and prime example is you can go to and we don't call them Olympic trials because there's no guaranteed Olympic spots. So you rock up to an event like this, a nationals, and you could win the event, and you could go overseas and you could compete well, and then you could get to June 30 and you could think you're making the team, and then our selectors can go, you know what, we actually think X, Y, and Z will do a better job. You're not going. And then you could ask for a justification and they don't have to give it to you. They can just be like, no, they're ranked higher in world rankings, whatever it may be. We've just seen it in Australia and it kind of blew out in a really harsh way. Like we saw Lisa Waitman, who was a marathon runner for us, she was the 3rd ranked athlete. And then Jess Stenson was our 5th ranked athlete for that marathon. And they decided to pick Jess over Lisa. And, you know, Jess is a 2:23 marathoner. Lisa's a 2:23 marathoner. They had their reasons why they picked them. Strong team no matter what. Jess, an incredible athlete. But the dialogue now becomes, well, how do you justify picking number 5 over number 3? They don't have to release that discourse to anyone. It's a private situation between the athletes and the selectors, and you don't know.
Yeah.
So there's no guarantee. So you like the benefit of this system is you leave here and you know I'm going to Paris. Yeah. The flip side of that, if you use the other system, is we have to wait until June 30 for everything to cut off, and then even from that you have to wait till about July 6 because we have appeals. So athletes can appeal. So in this situation, if the US adopted other countries' systems, Athing could appeal and she could go to this process and be like, oh yeah, well, I don't think Juliet Whittaker should go. I should be going because I've got X, Y, and Z on my resume. And then Juliet Whittaker has to go to the appeals board and argue why she needs to, and it becomes this whole messy situation and
I don't think people realize how quickly in the US that these stars wouldn't even be here competing.
Yeah.
Like Athing probably wouldn't even be racing here, and then she would.
Oh yeah.
It gets so political, and there's like coaches and agents that hold so much weight in the U.S. part of the sport that they would just be lobbying to get their athletes on teams and relay pools without even competing here. That would happen instantly.
Yeah.
And for this scenario, like the guy that I was trying to fight last night down here, who do you take off that team?
Exactly.
Juliet Whittaker, indoor NCAA champion, outdoor NCAA champion. Allie Wilson, indoor U.S. champion, made that world team. And you're certainly not going to take Atkins off the team.
Yeah.
By any measure of any other country, those top 3 are an instant lock. So it's, I think, completely insane to think that we should go another way, especially when we're so good on the international level and we bring home so many medals. This process clearly works.
Yeah, I would say globally, like, and again, I can only speak on Australian dialogue, but our dialogue, is that we want your system. We want to transition to your system where it's like 3 are in or 2 are in and 1's discretion. And to your point, Mac, if this wasn't automatic qualifying, 80% of these athletes would be in Europe. They'd be getting ready for diamond leagues. They'd be getting ready for these major events where they're going to run faster. So the fact that you get them here in this time period and they get to go and do this is a far better system in my opinion. But you know, there's benefits to either. But yeah, it would be pretty tough.
We would have gotten Eric on that team, though.
Oh yeah,
if the politics came into
lobbied
play,
hard. Yeah.
I could grease some palms.
Lobbied hard for Eric to be on there.
Women's fight. We've got to have a little bit of a shorter show today, but we got to talk about the women's 5K.
Yeah.
Outstanding race. To come that last 100 meters, just the whole crowd was on their feet. It was fantastic. Ellie Purrier, able to bring it home, or no, Ellie,
Yeah.
Cranny almost had it.
Yeah.
She was charging hard, and for a little while, I thought she was going to be able to pull off that upset. We've been calling it like an upset, but I mean, Elise Cranny is so so talented. It's great to see her rounding into form right now. Parker Valby, like she's had, do you think I think she'll probably win the Bowerman. It'd be crazy if she didn't. But I guess they never gave it to Ed, so like, what can you do? Crazier things. Better people have not won the Bowerman.
How many NCAA titles? 17? 17 NCAA championships?
I heard 70. I'm like, that sounds right.
That's what it felt like.
Actually, no, it was a cracking race, and and I wish I asked Parker this question last night, to be honest, but I at times don't think she gets enough respect for the way that she does run. And I know it's to the front and people like you should sit back and all that sort of stuff, but I think to be young and consistently get to the front and just be willing to be vulnerable enough to push the tempo, to me garners a lot of respect. It would have been easy for her to sit back and try a different tactic and be like, I'm just going to follow the leaders. But, these professional women tasked a collegiate athlete with the job to push the tempo, and she did it at such a great clip. Now, obviously, it's upsetting that she missed the team. She's still got a chance to make it in the 10K, or if one of these athletes decides to do the double and qualifies, maybe they don't do the 5 and Parker gets in. So there's still a potential for her to get in. But she still clipped 2:55 to finish that last K, and that's all it came down to, 2:44 to Ellie St. Pierre. So that final K was blistering, but garners my respect, Parker Valby, and that's exciting to see who she signs with and what she does from here on out.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We've got a guest.
Yeah, well,
let's get Kenny on.
As you've noticed, Karen's gone.
Yeah.
She was abducted last night.
She's done. Yeah. She said, you know what? I'm sick of you Pelicans.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you dickheads anymore.
I can't believe she's skipping work.
Yeah.
It's
crazy. Isn't she floating the river now? Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to jumpstart on the river. Yeah.
All right. Let's give him a mic.
Yeah. Here.
Oh, we're going to play musical mics here.
All right. Kenneth, here you go.
Kenneth.
Hey.
Yeah.
Here he is.
Nice and early joining us for the morning show. Kenneth, first off, congratulations. Olympian, how's that feel? Has it settled in yet?
I think it's still settling in a little bit. It's exciting. And it was really exciting to go through team processing yesterday and to try on all the uniform and all the the opening ceremony, closing ceremony stuff, and all the other. It was So it's been exciting, but still settling in.
Yeah, I mean, first Olympic team. I'm sure that feeling never, is going to settle for you.
Yeah.
The work that you've put in to get here, obviously, talk about what this moment means to you in terms of the sacrifices that you've made and everything you've put in to now become an Olympian.
Well, it means a lot. I guess it just makes me grateful for everyone who's helped support me in the process. I've put in a lot of work myself, but I wouldn't be here without all the people who've supported me, everyone who's helped me stay healthy, especially this year. I've had to deal with a few little foot injuries, which has been very frustrating, and so I'm just grateful for all the everyone who's helped me stay healthy and get back, and also just my wife and my family and everyone else who's helped support me along the way, and coaches, and I'm just really grateful. That's probably what I would say about the work. But yeah, it's been many years in the making, and especially after last year, I've had my eyes on the Olympic trials, and it's okay, well, next year I can last year was exciting and I enjoyed the moment, but it's next year I could be an Olympian. So,
I mean, BYU has got quite the thing going right now. There's a real powerhouse mecca for distance running growing right now in Salt Lake City. Talk about what
Provo.
that Provo,
close
right?
enough.
yes, yeah, close enough. Yeah.
What's that culture like? What's Ed Isom, Connor Mintz, Clayton Young, of course. You got your teammate
James Corrigan.
James Corrigan,
yeah.
Are you gonna go help him chase that standard down in a few days?
Yeah, the plan is to try and help him chase the standard down on Saturday in Pennsylvania. That's the plan. So hopefully that works out. But in terms of the culture in Provo that you were talking about, I think I mean, Coach Eyestone's a great coach, and it's been awesome just seeing the athletes who have been at BYU go pro and then stay and then help build that culture of just excellence. Like, I honestly think that just BYU itself has a really awesome culture of excellence there. But it's just also inspiring to have Jared Ward and Clayton Young and Connor Mance and me and then Coach Eyestone, other people who've had success on the professional and international level, just to be there and to just encourage us and to be cheering us on. I've been teammates with some of those guys, and then also they're just awesome BYU fans. There's and I try to be a really good BYU fan too, and try and give support because I felt a lot of support by all the BYU alumni and just my teammates there too. So
in addition to that, I feel like it's extended beyond BYU, where the Run Elite program, Rep, has been just a massive supporter for the pros who are based in Utah. I guess what has that sort of been like for you to kind of taking this step into your professional career? Now you're a year into it. You've got your pro contract, but in addition to that, there are sort of these other people also invested in your success.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm super grateful for Rep, and I'm grateful for the support they've given me. And I do think that they are also a factor of why we're having some of the success in Utah, and also not just with the Provo people, but other people who are coming to Utah, Grant and Matt and Courtney, and all those other people. So it's definitely been a big factor. And when I was a freshman in college, Rep wasn't a thing, and then I was a missionary. And when I got back, Rep had started, and it's been cool to see it build and see the impact it's had.
I want to talk race now.
Yeah.
You get towards the back end of it, there's plenty of bodies in it. It started out really slow, and as an observer, I was the start of this is kind of boring. I thought someone would take the lead and really move the needle early. When it starts off that slow, are you sort of just sitting there going this is perfect, this is exactly what I want it to be? Because when that kick comes, I know I've got the best of them. Were you just chilling there early, or what was the thought process?
Yeah, that's kind of what the thought process was for me. It was okay, well, nobody wants to take it. We'll just chill. And we came through our when it's a final, I don't usually pay attention to splits a ton, but still occasionally we'll see. I recognized we went through our first K in 3 flat, and I was okay, all right.
Here we go.
I was are you sure you guys want to do this? Because this is kind of my race. So I just kind of got excited as the race kept going on, but also I was anticipating there to be some sort of a push, and so I was at the same time it's also being hyper aware of okay, we're going slow right now, feel great, but when is the push going to happen?
But also when it's that slow, I guess you have to be cautious of just sort of all right, now we're all just sort of bunched up, and in the steeple you're always looking for that little bit of space to get the clean hurdle, the clean jump.
Yeah.
And did your mind ever feel just sort of a little bit at edge because of that?
No, actually, I felt more on edge in the prelim. I don't know. I felt more on edge. I felt like it was more crowded in my prelim, but that might have been just because I was running a little anxious and I wanted to get in better position. But no, I actually was able to stay pretty focused, pretty relaxed, but I was aware of trying to put myself in spots where I wasn't going to be stuck behind somebody, or be in a spot where I was gonna be in a bad spot. Although I did get spiked when we were running slow once, so
that's not that bad. It's a nice little battle scar from it, from the race.
Just on that, and think about it like you're explaining steeplechase for dummies. But when you guys I always think this, when you're in that pack and you do get caught on the rail and you've got bodies around you in any middle distance race, you're always thinking, what's my escape route? When you're adding something you have to jump over and technically be clear over it. How many thoughts are in your head when you're trying to find a spot to get clear air?
Yeah, well, I think that as far as finding your spacing, that just comes off of feel and experience. I mean, that's something I think that runners learn even just I mean, not like without the barriers, and you do have to be a little bit aware that like, okay, well, if I'm gonna kick up my leg here, am I gonna kick this guy, or am I gonna get hit with a trail leg? But it's just based off of experience and feel like shifting in there. But really, it's just focusing on when you're in the pack, you have to focus on the barrier. And when you're focused on the barrier, then you get over clean. And just doing one barrier at a time, and moving on to the next one. So,
was the plan always to, no matter what the pace was, be at the front with 800 to go, like, or did the slow pace early on kind of make you say, I want to make the last 800 to K really hard, or did that kind of were you trying to sit as long as possible?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to sit as long as possible. I think honestly everyone was trying to sit as long as possible. That's probably why we were going slow. But
which is crazy because some guys didn't have the standard.
Yeah, some guys didn't have the standard. But there was a good amount of people in the race who had enough like ranking points. It's kind of funny that James doesn't, but that it's not funny. But we're gonna help him out, hopefully. But I knew that like I might be the one to like make a hard move at the end. I knew that I would be moving hard at the end, but like at what point I didn't know. I didn't have a specific like time like that I was gonna go. Yeah. So
yeah, you're just feeling it out.
Yeah, just feeling it out, and then like I thought when Hillary took the lead with 4 laps to go, I was like, okay, he's gonna start pushing, and then we didn't, and then Matt ended up taking the lead with like 3 laps to go and started pushing, and I was like, okay, here we go. And then I was just paying attention to like how I was feeling, and because we'd gone so slow, like I was feeling really good, and just paying attention to what was around me, it just felt right to take the lead at the 800 to go. But I also knew based off of experience that if I make a move that early on, I have to commit, and so I committed, and I committed. I was not expecting to run a 59, but I definitely committed, and it was just basically off of feel. I realized at the end of that lap, I was like, oh man, I think I ran a little faster than I thought I did, and so then it was just like powering to the finish, just making sure that I was able to maintain the gap that I had formed on the field. So
one thing we were trying to figure out, because that night we rewatched the race and we talked about it on our post-race show, which is like, was there any awareness to Hillary taking the fall? Like, did you have any idea that had happened behind you?
Yeah, I saw it happen. I was to the right.
Okay.
And I'm glad that I swung out wide to do water jump on the outside, because at that point we were going slow, and so I mean, usually like people spread out and use the whole barrier when everybody's going slow, so we get a better look at the water jump. And I'm really happy that I wasn't right behind that. I feel bad for Hillary. He had a really hard fall, but yeah, I got to see it like out of the corner of my eye. So I knew that it had happened. And so
is the next thought process though, like he's one of the top contenders and he can close hard too. They're like, all right, I got to step on the gas a little bit just for my own sake to protect one spot.
Yeah, that did go through my mind.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
That
did.
is just like the
It's an
competitor.
it's an actual
Yeah.
thing. It's like, it's the water pit's like the hardest. It is like a huge part of the event. So if you don't safely navigate that, and the biggest competitor takes a fall, perfect time to step on the gas and not let it so that he can come back in.
Yeah. So I think that was that might have been part of the reason why I made that move, the hard move when I made it. But really, it was kind of like an instinctive choice. It was just kind of like we like hit 2 laps to go, and I was just like, I gotta go, and so I just took off.
Yeah. So you've had just kind of like the closest look at James's training and just seeing like what his potential could be. Like a race like this, when it goes out so slow, doesn't tell us entirely like how fast he can go. What are the things in practice, showing and telling you?
Well, a week actually before the trials, we had a steeple workout, and it was my best steeple workout this year, and James hung with me for the first time ever. So
nice, James. Well done, James.
Nice.
Round of applause for James. Yeah.
So and not only that, but like, I mean, So we did 12-8, 12-8. So he hung with me on the first 12 and the first 8, and then I was like 3 seconds ahead of him on the 12.
Are these over hurdles or
Yeah,
just straight?
well, it wasn't straight over hurdles. When
Yeah.
we do it, we do like first and last lap with hurdles.
Yeah.
On the 12s, and then the 8s we do like the last lap with hurdles. Yeah. And then so I was 3 seconds ahead of him on the second to last 12. But then on the last 800, he blew by me.
Wow.
A little bit, and was a little ahead of me at the end.
So that's a
and
good
so
sign
that
for
was
Saturday.
It's a good. It was a good sign for Saturday, I think, and also it was a good reminder to me that I need to be ready, mentally ready for somebody to blow by me, because I wasn't necessarily ready for that. But it was a workout too. So
So were you surprised at all to see him come through for third? Because I could see like you guys crossed the line, you're having your moment, and I was watching him. He came right up to you. He's like, "I was third," and I could see the reaction of you being like, "Oh my god!" Like, were you really third? Did it shock you at all, or was it like a confirmation that he's ready?
Well, I was surprised. I was surprised, not in the sense of like I wasn't shocked.
Yeah.
I was surprised, but I was also not like I also was just super excited. I was like, awesome, he did it. I was really grateful because I was hoping that he was going to run really well, and I knew that he could run well, especially after like this last weekend, and I was hoping he would recognize like how ready he actually was to run really fast. But everybody there is like is really, really good. There's a slew of really good guys. So I wasn't shocked, but I was happily surprised and grateful.
Yeah.
But I also knew that he was capable of doing something like that too.
So I feel like it's going to be a totally different environment come Saturday. Like Franklin Field, it's a all-comers meet. Like it's a huge stadium, probably not 11, 13,000 fans there. It's going to feel like a time trial. Like what is sort of the approach to this race? Has Coach sat you guys both down like in kind of game planned a little bit?
Yeah, well, after the race, we kind of just talked a little bit about what the game plan is. We're still trying to figure out everything, but we're just going to try and go out at like 8:15 pace, and I'm going to be pacing. Might have a few other people helping out, but just trying to get him a good time. The thing is that like James right now, like he ran 8:21 in the prelims, and I like you said, like he's probably hasn't run as fast as he probably can right now. I think both me and him haven't gone out at a race where we've gone out in 66s this year, and so but we can because we've done it in practice. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But we're gonna try and set it up that way. 8:15 is not easy though, so we'll see what happens.
And then foot-wise, like how's the body feeling? Kind of, you said you were dealing with something in the spring, like after this race.
Yeah.
Good?
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm good. Yeah. I just had an Achilles thing in March, and then a little bit of a foot thing after Sound.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm good now.
And then I guess like experience-wise, what did you take away from World Championships last year? I guess that you're hoping to, kind of sharpen up for the Olympics. I mean, it was the semifinal or the prelim last year was a lot of fun when you took it to who was it? Was it Gurma or
It was Bacali.
Bacali? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it just gives me a lot of confidence that like I can run with the best, and that the most important thing for me to do is just focusing on the process and just racing, even on like the highest stage. Like in the prelim, like I ended up winning that prelim, and I understand that like not everyone was giving it their all probably in that prelim, but just focusing on the process is just going to set me up for success. But also based off of like how well I closed at this meet, I think that I can close with the best in the world, and so it just gives me, and I've been there before, I've had that experience, so it just gives me more confidence going into this year, and a little bit more peace of mind, and probably more focus, more excitement too. So
Awesome. Well, Kenneth, we appreciate you stopping by this morning, and I guess like Mac is curious. Do you have any picks on the women's side?
Oh, picks on the women's side. Oh, well, I think Courtney's gonna make the team.
Yeah, that's one.
I got to throw Chrissy in there. She won last year.
Okay, that's 2.
I'm trying to think of who else.
Val Constein.
Yeah,
had a strong run.
Val would probably be a good pick.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be good.
But we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
That race always gets pretty interesting at every single one of the trials. But
Yeah.
Kenneth, appreciate you stopping by before
Thanks.
jet setting over to Philadelphia, and best of luck on Saturday.
luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well done, Kenneth.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right, I think that does it for Good Morning Track and Field.
Yeah.
We'll be
Karen
back this
Lesiewicz, good morning,
afternoon.
track and field. Yeah.
And we will have a bunch of interviews lined up today. I believe we've got Kendall Ellis, who got caught in team processing yesterday, so she'll be able to make it here today. Quincy Wilson, I believe, will be stopping by
Oof.
to recap that whole experience.
Do we have his teammate Clayton?
Clayton's coming
Yeah.
on.
Here we go.
We've got, I think like it's jam packed. So join us 12 p.m. CITIUS MAG YouTube channel. We'll see you back here shortly.
Nice.
Awesome. Thanks, Kenneth.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.